How's everybody doing? This is the fourth podcast we're doing on the Asian Cup for the Iranian campaign. Our country, Team Melli. We're gonna be discussing the Qatar match, which with that vital win, we qualified for the quarterfinals. We're going on to the next stage, but before also we're gonna be speaking about the UAE match, which that's another crucial match because if we win, we're gonna definitely avoid Japan. And today we have a special guest from beyond the pitch, Anto, which I just want to thank him personally for coming on. Anto, how you doing, my friend? And can you tell us about Beyond the Pitch to the viewers, which is one of my favorite podcasts that I've always listened to.
Hey, first of all, hi fellas, and thanks for having me on. Beyond the Pitch, right? Sirius XM on Mondays and Fridays, and we also work with One World Sports, who is carrying every AFC Asian Cup match on their network, and we do a lot of work with them throughout this whole tournament. And I've been very, very excited to see what's going to happen with this tournament. And so far, got a couple of duds in terms of the matches, but I think overall this has been a pretty good showing by the AFC.
Definitely, it's one of my favorite channels, so it's definitely worth listening to. So my first question to you guys is thoughts on the overall match, and I'm gonna answer this to Sarkar Hashemi. Sarkar Hashemi, can you just tell us, elaborate on what you saw, your thoughts on the overall game of how we played against Qatar?
Yes, thank you, Pasha. I think everybody saw that we played not a good game against Qatar. We didn't keep the ball enough. We didn't play in ball position. And as I told you before, we are very dominant when we don't have a ball. But when we get the ball, we didn't have any plan. And I'm very happy to saw Sardar Azmoun played, as I told you before. We have two different kind of players, and the one player is good, and he can score. He is successful, and another player is good, and he also take care that his team plays better. That is the little bit difference between Sardar and Guchani Nejad. Or maybe Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh and Shojai or someone else. These are players. They play very good, and they take care that the team plays also better because of their own exceptional quality. We call it here in Netherlands maybe X factor. You cannot have any explanation for that, but they have extras. But Iran played as we thought. Defending and searching for one chance, and they have done it. Even we played very bad, I believe we had three good chances, and you have to think if we play good, we can create much more chances. We didn't play without any accent. We didn't have any elements in our game, and no any between the lines. We didn't know who is the leader in the lines, and we couldn't put or dominate game the way we have to do that if we have a ball. That's what I think.
Sina, would you like to add anything?
I think Masashimi really pointed out everything there was. I thought the first half we looked a little bit out of depth. I think we weren't as good going forward. We kept the ball a little bit better, in my opinion. I'm not too sure if everyone else agrees or not, but certainly in terms of position Qatar, passes against Bahrain, which was positive, but at the same time, I think when Nekunan was on the ball, he was looking for passes, making things happen, building up game, and it didn't really happen for us first half. We struggled to create chances. I think part of that was, against Bahrain, Ghafouri pushed forward really well from his fullback position. He wasn't able to do that with the freedom that he had against Bahrain. I kind of put that down to the Qatari left-back being a threat going forward. So Ghafouri wasn't able to push forward and leave all that space behind for it to get exposed. We used our left-hand side a lot more. I thought Safi played a lot wider than he did against Bahrain. He was on the ball much more, getting the crosses in. But and Azmoun, he did okay as well. Putting aside his goal, I look play is good. I think is better than Nejad, and you could see that as well. So yeah, I think it was a good game. Another clean sheet. I thought defensively we were tested a lot more. So a clean sheet is, of course, it's always a positive, no matter who you play against.
Anto, I know that you labeled Iran as a dark horse coming to this Asian Cup. Have they satisfied fully with that performance that you saw, not only against the Bahrain game, but versus Qatar too?
I picked them as a dark horse, and the reason, I think first before we go into talking about what dark horse means, is let's get a little definition. I don't consider them one of the favorites to win this tournament, but I consider Iran to be one of those teams where on their day they can knock out a favorite, or on their day they can push a club that may be a favorite, or a nation that may be a favorite, like a South Korea, to penalties, maybe steal something. That's always how I saw Iran. And when I've watched them over the first couple of matches, the two things you take away is it's 2 clean sheets. They continue to excel in closing down space. They haven't played their best football, and they continue to win. And that's the mark to me of a team that, should they get out of this first round, which they did, they can cause a little noise. And I think that for Iran is ultimately what they have to do. You take the Qatar match. Qatar match showed me a lot more about Iran ultimately than the Bahrain match did, because Qatar was something of an informed team coming out of the Gulf Cup. As we all know, they won that in Riyadh. So I was very curious to see what would happen when those two matched up. And quite frankly, on the day, they were better than Qatar. And let's not lose sight of the fact that, the preparation for the Iranian team going into this tournament was a little bit hampered, I think. We talked about sanctions and whatnot, whether or not they had enough time together to pull this together in time. I still think they're going to get better as this goes forward. And quite frankly, I think they've got a pretty dynamic coach who will help them get better as this tournament goes on. So if I'm an Iranian fan and I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, certainly this is more glass half filled than it is half empty.
Thank you. Babak, anything you'd like to add?
I think the guys all covered a lot of important points. A couple of things, if I can add, is first of all, I don't think we played that badly, considering this is our style of play. We haven't mastered, let's say, the counter-attack with the right elements yet, because we're very wasteful with our chances off the counterattacks. Either we're sometimes a little bit slow to transition, or at other times the player that's making the run, it happened to be Nejad a few times. Haydari had a chance, Dejaga as well. So we could have easily had this game as a 3-0. But defensively, very impressive again. That's basically what our game is based on. As long as the defense is solid, we're always going to have a chance to score goals, even off set plays. I was happy that Osmon got a start. I think that we can see signs of the future direction of Team Melli. Poor Ali Ganji was impressive in defense again. I think he blocked the chance of the header from Muntari as well, and he could have easily scored as well. Teimourian looked back to his best. He was excellent against Qatar. Nekunam looked a little bit more involved than he has been in recent times. So there was a lot of positives overall. I was nervous quite a lot because Qatar looked much more dangerous than Bahrain, and on another day we could have easily conceded the goal. But this is the style of play that we have. It's going to be defensive, it's going to be counter-attacking. No matter who we're playing against, we're going to have a lot of nail-biting moments against us. And against better opponents, it's going to get a little bit scrappy. So we better get ready for that.
Anything you'd like to add, Pezhman, to your thoughts on the overall Qatar match?
No, I think Babak summed it up, and I do agree that it wasn't that bad of a performance from us, as Babak said and the other guys. This is our style of play, and this is the Team Melli that we have. We must not forget that this is the 4th game in a row that we haven't conceded a goal. No matter what, after 90 minutes, it's all about scoring more goals than your opponents. No matter how bad we play, we still seem to be able to win the games. And after all, that's what Carlos Queiroz has done for us.
Thank you.
Can I add something, Pasha?
There you go. Go for it.
I agree with Babak and Pezhman. Of course, 3 points are very important, and we have to win. We have to go to second round. But the counter-attack is also a way to play football. That's what the trainer choosing for, to counter-attack or not. If if you want to counterattack, that means you have to choose for the player who can finish it. We had almost 6 or 7 different opportunities in counterattack to make another goals, but we didn't do that because we don't have a counterattack. I think what you guys misunderstanding. We don't play counterattack. We play reaction football. The reaction football is how we score the goal. It was a great tackle from Teimourian, who gives the ball to Dejaga, and Sardar with fantastic ball, he scored the goal. That is reaction football. But counter-attack, if you want to counter-attack, you need different player in the front line. You need a speedy player, you need a technical player, you need a player who can go to the space. That's what I think.
But don't you think that in Ashkan Dejaga, in Masoud Shojai, in Sardar Azmoun or Reza Gushaninejad, you have those speedy and skillful players? I mean, yes. they're not finishing the chances, but you have the right ingredients. Even with Jahan Bakhsh, if he comes off the bench, or maybe even Haydari, those are the players that are suited for counter-attack. Let's say we are trying to do something, but we're not able to execute it because of the quality of players.
Because of the quality, exactly. If you know, the Sardar, I'm sure Sardar is the player. He can play also in counter-attack, but not the Gushaninejad. And for counter-attack, you need 3 elements. One, you have to get the ball first, which are the defenders or central midfielders in the defending role. And second one, you play the ball the other side of field, which is Ashkan Dejaga or Teimourian. They get the ball. And then after that, you need other speedy or good forward or striker who can go to the space, who can get the ball and who can score it. Ashkan Dejaga is doing perfect. He's very much higher than Asian football, but he is not Ashkan Dejaga, the player who can run from in 50-60 meters and finish it up. You can give the ball to Ashkan, and Ashkan can give the ball to player is running in the space. And Teimourian is great to get the ball from an opponent, you know. I think if you want to play counter-attack, real counter-attack, a structural counter-attack, you need a speedy player. You need Sroush Rafi. You need Alireza Jahanbakhsh. You don't have to bring Gushaninejad in. You don't need Shojai. You understand? I think there's a little bit different between counter-attack football and reaction football. Mm-hmm. We play much more reaction football than counter-attack. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm. I have another question. Going back to Sardar Azmoun, because we know we all agreed on that I was shocked to see him start over Gushaninejad, and he seemed in this tournament that he's going to be more of a giant super sub coming off the bench. He came on, he scored a world-class goal. It was one of probably the best goals I've ever seen in my life, coming from an Iranian player. What does that mean for him, and what do you think Queiroz dropped Gushaninejad, Anto?
I want to pick up that point on the reaction football rather than counterattack.
Yeah.
And this kind of all feeds into this because I get the sense when I watch Queiroz, it's almost I'm watching a version of the way Mourinho does things. People mischaracterize Mourinho as a counterattacking manager. Mourinho is the manager who likes to maximize transitions, right? And what he's looking for is game situations in which you can reverse the field very, very quickly and maybe catch a defense out of position and jump on that. Is that what you mean? I forget the gentleman's name who raised this point, but is that when you're talking reaction football, is that what you're talking about? It's more about a transition game more than, say, necessarily a counterattacking game?
I think the counterattack, in counterattack football, which means you have to be very fast to finish it up.
Right.
That's right. You can play the long ball to the player who is striking, but the reaction football is you get the ball somewhere on the field of the opponent, much closer to the box of the for example Qatar. You can see how where Teimourian made a tackle.
Like for instance, I consider what South Korea did to Australia today the purest form of counterattacking football that I've seen in this tournament yet, because they use Son Heung-min to burst into space, and they look for that guy coming in late who's going to finish for them. But when I watch Iran, I see a team that's looking to look for short transitions and create mismatches. That to me is the difference between what South Korea does and what Iran does.
For the counterattack, you need very fast players. The Khosrow Haydari is not very fast. Shoja is not fast. Guchanejad is not fast. They have qualities, too many qualities, but not for counter-attack football. They can keep the ball. They can show many good things, but the players who just run to the goal of the opponent, you need kind of player, of course, with other qualities for counter-attack. But what you just gave about Korea, I think is correct.
Anything else you guys like to add, Sina, Babak, or Pezhman?
I think Anto made a very good example, because watching this team kind of reminds me of Chelsea under Mourinho, as he said, living and feeding on the opposition mistakes and trying to capitalise on it, which is what Chelsea certainly did last season in a lot of big games, apart from the Arsenal game. And that's what Iran certainly does as well. Staying alert for the entire game, just waiting for that moment when you see the space, when you see the defender or the midfielder of the opposition making that mistake, and you capitalise on it. And I think that was a great example, and they've put it out really well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going back to my other question that I was speaking on earlier, because we all agreed that Osman was going to be a giant sub. I wasn't expecting Guchanejad to get dropped for him. But he scored a world-class goal. What does that goal mean for him, and why would you think that Queiroz dropped Guchanejad and started Osman Babak?
I think that Queiroz has seen what we've seen over the last few months when we've seen Gucci. He scored some important goals for us, but overall, he's quite isolated. The lines between the midfield and attack is quite... the space between them is quite broad, and he's running around, closing down players as much as he can, but he's not the type of player who's going to cause damage to the opponent with his back to goal. So Osman offers a different dimension of the attack. I think that over the last few months, Queiroz has watched him during a lot of friendly games. He's seen him show signs that he's ready to step up, and he offers a threat where he can actually take on the defender and get past them. Like Mr. Hashemi said, Guchanejad is not a speedy player. He's a poacher. He's someone who's there at the end of the line, who's able to tap in shots, or he can get through and give him a shot, and he has a clinical chance to finish. But Osman is someone who can create something out of nothing. And with our style of football, which we want to call it counter-attacking or reactionary football, it's something where our chances are going to be coming at a premium. So Sardar Osman, the fact that he scored that goal, I think it cemented the reality that he's probably going to start again if he's fit. Guchanejad came on. You can see that he was stressed. Mentally, he was a little bit all over the place. He wanted to impress Queiroz, but all he did was frustrate the manager and mess up every chance that came along to him, either by choosing to shoot when he could have passed, or pass when he could have shot, or took in too long on the ball and lost the ball. So you could see Queiroz was going crazy on the byline because he was actually the source of ending most of our chances when he came on the pitch. So if Osman is fit, I think he's going to continue starting as we go ahead in this tournament.
Pezhman?
Yeah, regarding your question about Osman, I do agree with the analysis, and what we've seen in Osman is just as Babak said, somebody that creates something out of nothing, and the goal all started with actually from nothing when Teimourian made a great tackle. I also believe that Osman will start the next game, but I think now he's got some more pressure on him than before, because in the game against Qatar, he came in as like a surprise guy because Gucci didn't play well. Now the next game, if you're going to start, people will have demands on him already. The coach will have demands on him already. And I'm sure that Azmoun will have demands on himself already. So it will be interesting to see how Azmoun plays when he's actually under pressure to perform, because so far he's been like this guy that's a young talent that we accept him to make mistakes. I think we still can accept him to make mistakes, but now we accept we also almost demand him to perform and do well. So that would be really interesting to see how he will do against the UAE.
Sina?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything the guy said. I think Gucci, certainly for me, he's a 6-yard box striker. You don't want him to get involved in the build-up play. You don't want him on the ball at all. You just want him to be at the end of every chance. And that's certainly the play he's been for us in the past 2 years in the World Cup qualification. He's always been at the end of crosses. He's, as Babak said, he's a real poacher. For me, Azmoun, he's great on the ball. Technically, he's much better than Gucci, and of course, we knew how talented he was. We know he's a promising striker, and he's got a very long way to go as well in terms of getting better. But I think with that kind of performance, even though he was 50, 60 odd minutes, he certainly made himself the favourite for that starting position against UAE. Which when he came on, I thought, as Babak said, he really wanted to make an impression, as if he's lost his spot already.
Mm-hmm.
He made the wrong decision, whether to pass or shoot it to the anyway. He teams for long range balls. So I think he was a little disappointing, and it's not really great to see.
Yeah, Anto. So as you probably know that Sardar Azmoun is labeled as Iranian Messi. He was linked with one of the top big clubs, and he rejected, I believe, Arsenal, and he said it on a live TV show in Iran. How did you see the situation that as everybody else was talking about?
As far as Azmoun,
yes.
I think what Kirosh was using this opportunity to do is he was looking at. I think he had one eye on UAE with this move, and I'll tell you why this is, because I think when you play the Emirates, one of the questions will come down to whether or not how much of the ball will Iran see with our friend Omar Abdulrahman and kind of pulling the strings here. I think they're a little bit technically superior in that part of the pitch than, say, Iran is. I think your point about the usual striker, whose name eludes me at the moment, I want to pronounce it right, but the man he replaced is more of a in-the-box striker. I think if you're going to play transition football, I think Azmoun is more of a more accomplished guy who can do a lot more different things in a short porch, let's say. Because I do think if you can get at UAE, it's in the defense. Because they do make some mistakes. They do cause turnovers there. So that striker is going to have to be more than a fox in a box type striker. He's going to have to be able to lay the ball off. He's going to have to do some hold up work. He's going to have to, drag the ball wide to bring players into that box. I think, in my mind, if I'm reading the tea leaves right, and I may be reading them wrong, I think Kirosh was looking at Azmoun as perhaps maybe his answer for UAE.
Mr. Hashemi, I have a question from the coaching perspective on this aspect, especially when it comes to man management. That's a key thing with coaches. As we saw, Gucci was trying to force himself to score a goal, and he just regularly, just sporadically, just kept taking shots and stuff just to prove the point that to secure himself a spot. How do you think that relationship is going to be with him and Kirosh, especially considering that Azmoun is probably going to start if he's okay to heal up, looking at it from coaching aspect?
I think the most important thing is for the coach what is most belong right for the team, and which player is better for the team. And you told me right now that Gucci was forcing to score the goal. That was I exactly meant when I told you have the player. They let the team play better, and they are good also. And you have the player is playing good. There are two different players. That's different between Azmoun and Gucci. And the Azmoun is the type of player. He has an exceptional quality, and if he's playing, the team plays also better. You could see last 25 minutes when Gucanizad came in, we played very bad. We couldn't keep the ball, and the chances we lost the chances because Gucanizad wants to score by himself. How the coach look at that? It's not difficult. The coach also looking at the statistic and the numbers. If I'm not wrong, Sardar played last 4 games for Iran and scored 3 goals. And I believe 2 goals of him are 6 points for Iran. And the coach wants to win. If it's Sardar Azmi or Gucanizad. And Gucanizad has to accept this one. Because Sardar is younger. I say I'm a coach, I say always, if I have a young player and an older player, but they both have same quality, I will always choose for the young player because I'm sure that I will win always something. The something, it can be at that point, we won the game against Qatar. Also, Queiroz can win the future with Sardar Azmi. I think the Carlos is a professional trainer. He explained, I'm sure he had talked to Gucanizad about the situation. And he wants to let the player play who is better. And, just the example, he still trusting Shojai. He didn't try someone else or Omid Ebrahimi or Jahan Bash. And I'm sure if he try one of these and he will win again with this young player, I'm sure for the next step he will use Sardar Azmi and Jahan Bash together again. But Gucanizad is also a professional player, is a good guy. He played in England and he knows in the big level this kind of things will happen. And the Queiroz can explain him everything. I think the important thing is the results of Iran national team, Iran's flag. That's the most important thing.
Exactly. I have another question to ask, and this goes back to who was our notable player. As we know, Andronik Teimourian got the man of the match, but for me was Ashkan Dejaga, and as we saw the first game, I certainly believe that he should have gone the man of the match again. Pezhman, would you agree with me, or did you see somebody else that was a notable standout for you versus Qatar?
I also think Ashkan once again did good. He has every time he has the ball, he always. I think I want to maybe see it in him, but he always seems like he's looking for an idea. It's like, what can I do that will be good for the team? What kind of players are around me that I can pass and then maybe get a new position? And also he has got some good dribbling skills, which is nice to see. And he's got a lot of time with the ball. So I think Dejaga is a good candidate for man of the match.
Sina?
Or best Iranian.
Yeah. Sina?
For me, it was Andronik. I think we were a little disappointed with him against Bahrain, but against Qatar, he was back to his usual. He was putting in some great challenges, closing down players as he always does, and he for me personally, symbolizes the way we play. With that fighting spirit, making sure, we win every challenge, we win every header, and for me personally, he made the goal as well with that.
Exactly, that sliding tackle.
And I thought he was back to his usual best, and when he's on form, we perform better. Personally, that's how I see it. Nekunan was much better than he usually was as well. He got on the ball a lot more, and there was also Hariri as well. I've been really impressed with him in this tournament. I think he's without question our number one now. He was reassuring again. I have questions over his distribution. I think he needs to improve. With the ball at his feet. His distribution is not that great, but certainly coming out and making the right decisions, I thought he was great again, and it's good to have a number one keeper again after a while.
Back.
For me, I would say Anto was the heart and soul of the team, and Dejaga was the brain of the team. Without the other, would not really give you anything at the end. Ashkan was excellent. First half, he was a little bit. It was difficult for him to try to get past the right back, but the left back, sorry, because the left back from Qatar was probably another candidate for man of the match. I think it's Hassan, number 3. He's a good player. He has a good future in the game. But in the second half, when there was more space as the game expanded a little bit, especially after we scored, he was our only out ball, and he was taking the game to Qatar, and we were a little bit unlucky that we didn't, or maybe we were not clinical enough to take advantage of the spaces that he created for us. But Teimourian, excellent performance. He broke up play. He probably had the assist for the goal for Sardar Azmoun as well. And there was a couple of times where he intercepted the ball in very crucial areas and prevented attacks from Qatar. So both of them were excellent. Haisafi was good as well. Hadliji too. Quite a few players had good performances, to be honest.
Anto?
For me, it was Ashkan. And for a simple reason is, I think someone just alluded to the point that, I think he was out there as the brains of the outfit, and quite frankly, the work that he was doing wasn't necessarily rewarded. I don't think I don't think he got the finishing that he probably needed. I thought he was creating some space. I like what he was doing against that Qatari back an awful lot, because I do think that player is a good player. And like I said, I like to see players, especially in tournaments, who are more thinking creatures than necessarily action creatures. And I think that's the type of guy that if Iran's going to find success in this tournament, they're going to rely on him more and more and more the deeper this goes. He's the type of guy who can also beat players one-on-one. And at some point, if you're going to create something out of nothing, that's usually where those situations are born.
Sarko Hashemi, I know you definitely won't say Pouladi, but who was your notable standout?
No, I was not happy with Pouladi, because with or without ball, he was very, very in his minimum quality. But I give for the first player, Ashkan. I think the most important thing is in Ashkan, he could keep the ball. And if you are under pressure and you need someone to keep the ball and to come out the pressure, and he knew that. He look at the spaces he can go with the ball. And I think second player I will give to definitely to Anto. And still I am very surprised for third person or young defender, for Ali Genji. He played also very well.
Thank you. You guys, anything else you guys would like to add to any other discussions, especially the way we cope with Qatar's attack-minded forwards? Babak?
Sorry, can I just add one thing?
Go for it.
The earlier discussion about Qurcha Nejad being poor, or Anto, you can just call him Reza. I think it would be easier for you. Qurcha Nejad is hard even for us Iranians.
Right, absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I do agree. He was poor with the finishing, and he made some wrong decisions a couple of times, which could lead us to more goals. But he was actually there every time, and he created chances, and he was really, if you want to see it in a positive way, he was really eager to perform and show that his starting position should be his. He was a little bit stressed, I get that, but we must not forget, after all, he was there and actually creating the chances or being at the right place at the right time, but making the wrong decisions. So I think Queiroz, if he would start with Qurcha Nejad again, I can understand him. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea letting Sardar being on the bench and making sure that Qurcha Nejad gets the time in the first half and maybe like 20 minutes into the second half to show himself, be a little less stressful and be able to create those chances that he created against Qatar and hopefully make better decisions. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually hopeful for Qurcha.
I don't think you can drop Sardar Azmoun after that goal. It would give the wrong message to the young player and to any player. Mm-hmm. With a goal like that, if he's fit, he has to start. It doesn't. You're really. I like the positive outlook on Gushanejad's performance, but I don't see it the same way. I think sometimes being too eager is a bad thing, especially when we're under so much pressure where Qatar can score from any chance. He was giving the ball away quite too often. So I really think our style of football does not suit Reza and really makes it hard for him to perform. Even during the World Cup, if we had a stronger, faster striker or forward, it would have made a big difference. But it doesn't help him, and he could be someone who would be performing much better if we were playing a little bit higher up the pitch and towards the opposition's goal as a poacher, where he can really show his abilities as a clinical finisher.
Thank you guys for everything. I just want to move on to preview the UAE match. And one of the key things I do want to discuss about is how we should line up versus UAE, knowing that Shojai has been very, very poor for a long, long time. And I really, really want to see Jaunbach starting, especially knowing that if we end up turning into second place, we definitely going to have Japan. If we go finish top of the group, we're going to avoid them. Knowing that, I seriously think we should consider Jaunbach starting, and that's the lineup that I would like to see. Same with 4-2-3-1, would see Hashemi in the middle, Dejag on the right wing, left wing Jaunbach, and then up top Sardar Azmoun. Coming back to you, Sarkar Hashemi, would you agree with me, knowing that we have to win this game?
I'm absolutely with you. I agree with you, Pasha, and I think personally that the UAE will be easier game for us than Qatar, because UAE is a team who takes the risk. They will be not just behind the ball; they will also play much more for the ball, which means we can have and create much more spaces. And about the formation, I think even Ashkan can play on the number 10 position. And you can you can put Haksafi left or Ashkan left and Jahanbash right and the Sardar at the target man, and it would be much better for Iran. And their players, they bring much more football in Iran team. We need much more football. We have to enjoy from the game, and don't forget that I read just some comments from Kafashian. He says we would like to play against Japan, and I think they even think about things. We have to win the game, and we have to play against Iraq.
Yeah.
And which means you need the player. You need the player to create more chances. I agree with you. Jahanbash has to play. Sardar has to play.
Sina?
Yeah, I also agree with you, although I'm not sure if Karish will agree with us. I think he's gonna go for the same lineup again, because the way we play, as we've talked about many times, whether it's defensively or going forward, everything comes from midfield. So it's much harder to change things in midfield than it is, let's say, the way he changed Azmoun with Gushanejad, or even when he put Purali Ganji as centre-back. So I think he'll find it a lot more difficult changing that midfield when it's working rather than, any other position. So I think he's going to go with the same lineup again, because if it doesn't work, then, he can make a substitution. But we've always spoke of how he needs a plan B, and I think his only plan B right now is Jahanbakhsh. So with him on the pitch, I'm not sure if he can change anything if it doesn't work. So I think he's going to go with the same lineup again, with the same approach. And as Mr. Hashemi said, UAE is more of a risk taker. And in the last two games, they've conceded goals against Bahrain and Qatar. So I think we will score a goal, whether it's a 1 or 2. We'll have to wait and see. But I think it's going to go with the exact same lineup again, with Azmoun starting, of course.
Anto?
I think you mentioned putting two defensive midfielders in front of that defense is probably the right thing to do. I think that's probably the right formation given the situation that's at hand. But when you're looking at UAE, you also got to be aware of not just Abdul Rahman, but those two strikers, right? Ali Mabkout and of course Khalil, who can be wasteful, but also at times when they're on it can be a little bit clinical. I think UAE's strengths almost play into somewhat of what Iran's strengths are at, because, let's face it, this is a team that's based on defense. But Abdul Rahman, there are probably two players in this tournament, right, that on their own can win you a game from midfield. One is Abdul Rahman, the other one's got to be Honda from Japan. So if they don't want to face the second one, it's two straight matches. They need to win this match. They need to win this one. I still think at the end of the day, it will be settled in the midfield, and this is where I think UAE, if they're going to win it, that's where they'll win it. That doesn't mean that Iran can't win this game. I think they're going to have to turn this a little physical. Rough up Abdul Rahman, and then keep it tight until late in the game. If they can do that and make that late chance count, they can certainly get a result from this.
Babak?
I actually think that, like Anto said, UAE's strengths and Iran's strengths are going to be clashing. We enjoy it when the opposition plays an expansive game, and UAE wants to play an expansive game. So I think the game suits both teams in a way. With the fact that Omar Abdulrahman, I consider him one of the best players in Asia, if not the best in terms of pure technique and talent, I really think we need to have Ehsan Hajsafi in the middle to help Anto and Nekunam. Both of them are in their 30s. They don't have the legs like they used to, especially Javad, who's a little bit less mobile than you would like for someone in that position. So we're going to be overrun in the middle. I would like to have Hajsafi there, hopefully put Jahan Bakhsh on the right side and Ashkan on the left side to be able to counterattack or transition well. I think that this will be the first game where we're actually going to see pressure inside our own penalty box and shots against us, because Qatar had a few chances, but they were largely either from a cross header or shots from a little bit of a distance. Same thing with Bahrain and JC John. But Ali Mabhout especially, I think he was my tip for top scorer of the tournament. He's already got 3 goals, I think, and if UAE is to go further, he's definitely going to be a guy who's going to score goals. He's been in sensational form over the last 2 years. He's got about 24 goals in about 33 international games, and most of them have come in the last 2 years. So our defense is definitely going to be tested. We're going to see if poor Ali Ganji is really going to be a center-back solution. And in terms of support right in front of the defense, Anto and Nekunam are going to have their work cut out, definitely.
Pezhman?
Man, you just scared me. I was like, okay, UAE, no problem, but you're talking about this guy who's scored other goals. I don't know how offensive UAE will be playing against us. It will be a clash of a similar type of teams, or tactics at least, but the UAE will settle for a draw, which maybe makes them like less eager to attack in a way that Qatar attacked in the second half. That they were almost desperate and really moved up, which gave us plenty of opportunities, which Reza didn't use very well. So I don't know how the game will actually turn out. How will UAE think? Will they try to go for an early goal, which makes them, which puts them in a situation they like, that can be strong defensively? Or will they just play their defensive style and rely on their good strikers in some kind of counter-attack? It's really hard to say. I think this game will be really interesting to watch from a tactical point of view, how Queiroz will cope with that, and especially how he will do in the second half, because we've seen a lot of games that when Iran being kind of poor or not being able to do much in the first half, turning the game or turning the tactics in the second half, making really good substitutions. So I'm really eager to see the game in that kind of view.
Anto, as we both know that Omar Abdulrahman is one of your key favorite players in Asian football. A very natural, talented, gifted player that I wish Iran would produce something like him. We haven't had someone like him since Ali Karimi. Just looking at him single-handedly, how much problem would you think he would cause Iran, and knowing how Iran's defense is considered one of the most stable, and it's really, really hard for us to concede goals these days. How would you see him coping with our defense, and how much problem would you think he's going to cause us?
I think this is going to come down to something to deal with tactics in terms of Queiroz, right? Queiroz is going to have to make the decision. Does he want to sit and defend or does he want to attack space, right? Because if you don't get close on Abdul Rahman and deny him the ball and force him wide, which is what he'll do is if he can't find any joy in the middle of the pitch. If the more you can force him wide by closing down space, he's the type of player who not only likes to get creative with the ball at his feet, but he also controls the pace of the game. He also controls the tempo. He does everything. He's almost like the nerve center. So it's almost if you kill the brain, you kill the organism when it comes to Abdul Rahman. He's going to have to make some key decisions as to who is that guy that may want to press on him. And then secondly, how do you manage the card situation? Because if he gets a little crafty around in the center of the pitch and you're absorbing cards, that may change what he does. So I'd be very curious to see if Iran picks up early cards against Abdul Rahman, trying to take him out, what that does in terms of the tone of the defense and some of the tactical decisions that Queiroz is forced to make. Someone had mentioned, and again, excuse me for not picking up on the name, but had mentioned the second half adjustments. That to me is going to be very, very important. If Iran can again keep it close and stay at 11 men coming into the second half, late into the second half, I give them a puncher's chance of at least grabbing a draw here. But Abdul Rahman, they've got to in some way force him wide without absorbing too many cards.
Sarkar Hashemi.
Sorry, just before that, Pasha, I just want to say that in 23 matches against the UAE, Iran has, I think, only lost one time. Nice. So let's just give the perspective and the context. Even though this is probably UAE's best ever side, we have dominated the clashes between them. Yes, it's going to be probably our most difficult game against them, but I would still say that we're probably just about favorites to win the game.
Right. Sarkar Hashemi.
Yes, I think exactly what I told you in the beginning. I think the UAE can be easier game for us because they have many players for the ball, not behind the ball. And about the Abdul Rahman, he is a complete player. If he doesn't have the ball, he can defend also good. If he has a ball, he can dominate the game. He can give the ball. He can pass the ball. He can create the chances for different players. But we don't have to forget two important things. One, what I also heard from the colleagues, UAE is very, very dependent on him. And second one, if Abdul Rahman has the ball in the attacking spaces, if he loses the ball, he has lots of problem with the switchover or conversion, which means it will be lots of empty space behind him. I think Carlos Queiroz knows that already. He's very good if he has the ball. He take many risks. We saw that. If we can get the ball and if we can use the many spaces behind their midfields, and that's the reason we always play good against UAE, because I think they are different than Qatar and Bahrain. Bahrain wants to win against Iran, doesn't matter how, or Qatar, but UAE they have a good team, they have good playing team, not just Abdul Rahman. Don't forget the Ahmed Khalil and
Mahmoud, yeah.
They are a good player. Yeah, and even in build up from the last line, I saw Al Kamali is also player. He can build up very well. But he is also typical player like of Omar Abdul Rahman. If they lose the ball, we can use the space behind them, which is very good for our reaction or counter-attack football. I think we have to use that.
Sina?
Yeah, I think we all know what a fantastic player Omar Abdul Rahman is and how important he is to UAE going forward. But I want to pick up on something that Babak said on the last topic, which he said, there's a possibility that Hashemi could play in the middle along with Nekun and Ranik, and I can see that happening. If my memory serves me correctly, we played this formation against Nigeria in our first game at the World Cup, with Hashemi, Nekunam and Anto playing in the middle, Dejaga on the left, and Haydari playing right mid or right wing. And I can really see that happening with, of course, Nekunam and Anto protecting that back four. And I'm not sure if this will be possible, but maybe man mark Omar Abdul Rahman. I'm not sure if that would work or not. But Hashemi has that energy. He's very good defensively. He's got a high, as I said, a high concentration level. He's a fantastic player. So maybe, I'm not saying he can or can't do, but Queiroz has that option as well in the locker, bringing Hashemi in the middle and making sure that Omar Abdurrahman doesn't have that much space to work with.
Sina just took the words out of my mouth because I was just about to say, what does everyone think about Hashemi potentially man-marking Omar? Because I don't think Anto has the legs, and Nekunam is not a man-marker anyway. I feel that Hashemi has the legs to be able to press Omar and keep him on his toes. But there was something that Anto said about the bookings, and I think Ehsan Hashemi is already on a booking, which kind of makes us think twice about that.
Yeah.
But I think, having said that, if Hashemi, let's say, if he does get a booking and we do win the game, then we'll probably be playing against Iraq, who, with no disrespect to them, they're not Japan. So, he's got the ability to change it around a bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe Hashemi's absence wouldn't be felt as much.
Yeah. So, guys, I want to finish this up with your predictions about the match. And I'm going to start off with Anto. What are your predictions, Anto?
I'm going to go, because I'm Italian, I'm going to go with the biscotto. I think right here that, hey, they're both through, do no damage, don't pick up the cards. I just think that these are two teams that will look at this and say, especially UAE, look, make them take the game to us in a bit because, look, we hold the goal difference. We'll try to slow things down a bit, see what opportunities are there, and I just think I could see this seriously as something like a 1-1 draw. I really could.
Yeah. Ballback?
Till now, my predictions haven't jinxed us because I've been a bit pessimistic. So I'm going to stick to the same way. I'm going to say 2-2 draw, hoping that we're going to surprise me again.
That's because you're a Blackburn Rovers fan, which is okay. It's okay for you
Please
to be
don't bring that up.
Pezhman?
The prediction for the game: Iran will win 1-0. Goal scored by Mr. Shujai, making him earn another place in the starting 11.
National hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a statue for him outside Azadi Stadium. Sarkar Hashemi?
Yes, maybe I'm optimistic, but I will give 2-0 for Iran.
2-0. Sina?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pezhman. I think 1-0 is probably what we should be looking at.
Yeah. Well, once again, I really want to thank you guys for always coming on, giving your insights for the fans. It's been getting a lot of great reviews. It's usually the fans could listen to it not only on SoundCloud but on the Persian football website. And Anto, my friend, I really want to thank you personally for coming on. And it's great what you do with Beyond the Pitch. It's one of my favorite podcast channels that Sina notably listens to too. Pretty sure Ballback and Sarkar Hashemi and Pezhman soon will listen to it too. But I really, really want to thank you for giving me your time and coming on here, my friend. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem, Jess. This was a blast.
Yeah. So, guys, once again, all your information will be on the bio. And I just really want to thank everyone for coming on. And do Iran. Thank you.